Today we're going to talk about budgeting for impact. So we picked this fancy title, but what we're really talking about is aligning our ad spend with business objectives. So I've done a lot of different marketing budgets and advertising plans, and really when we're working with our clients, when we're putting together a lot of the budgets and forecasts and plans, we've developed a little bit of a methodology internally so that we can start to forecast those more accurately. And I think it's something that everyone here would likely benefit from, and glad to have you as a part of this webinar. So without further ado, let's kick it off. I'm Warren. I'm one of the co-founders and directors of Olometrics. So we're a digital marketing agency. We're based in Vancouver, Canada, and we are very focused on performance marketing. We do Google ads, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, SEO, but we really focus on analytics and the metrics that really will help us make data-driven decisions with our clients. And it's a lot of the stuff we're talking about today. Like, this is the foundation for how to make those smarter decisions in your business and analyze your funnel and analyze your marketing campaigns. So I also do this a lot. I teach classes through Jelly Academy, and actually one of our clients, Fire Circle, to a lot of tourism businesses. So I'm teaching this stuff all the time, and I find it to be really rewarding working with businesses and communicating this stuff through. So joining me is Christina, and I'll let her introduce herself.
Thank you, Warren. Hi, everyone. So my name is Christina, and I work with Olometrics as a head of client services. Been with the company for over 3 years, or 3 years exactly, and I've been working in digital marketing for over 10 years in a different industry and different position. And I remember before joining the agency world, working with marketing budgets specifically for paid campaigns was always a struggle. So I'm hoping that you will learn some amazing tricks how to budget for success with our webinar today.
Thanks, Christina. So first I'm going to start with traditional budgeting 101, looking at how a lot of businesses and marketers do budgeting currently. Then what is goals-based budgeting? What is the metrics chain? So understanding how you can actually reverse engineer your budgets using some simple math. I'll say simple-ish, but it's really just some math. And then I'm going to hand over to Christina. She'll go through the funnel calculator, talk about how to improve your funnel, and then we'll get into our Q&A. And we do have some free resources at the end. So if you hang out, then you'll get access to the things that we're going to share throughout the webinar. So traditional budgeting 101. So the way that this usually comes up for me is I'm having a conversation with client or potential client, and I'll say, what's your budget? And they say, I don't know. What do you recommend? And the problem is that without, I can't just pull this out of thin air. Oftentimes we have to do some math. We have to figure out, like, what are their goals and, like, what does that actual funnel look like? And so oftentimes things are just too complex unless we get some more information. And so what most people do, because of the complexity, is they just kind of have a shortcut. Human beings are lazy. We like to find shortcuts. So they say, what did we spend last year? We spent 50 grand on marketing. Okay, great. What was our revenue growth last year? We grew by 10% as a business. Okay, well, maybe we just add 10% to our budget. So now it'll just be $55,000 this year. Would that work? What do you think we can get for that? And so, like, this is the default way that most organizations budget, including a lot of government organizations and whatnot. So they're just looking at what did we do last year? Maybe we'll make a tweak to that, and maybe that'll get us to our goal. So the problem with this, and actually first I'll say, this is the what did we do last year approach. And like I mentioned, it's very common. It's simple, it's easy, but it's super limited. And the problem is because it's focused on inputs, what did we do last year? And not the desired result. What do we want to do this year? What are our actual goals as an organization? And so the first thing I do when I have those conversations with a new prospect or a client is we say, okay, well, let's look at what the desired result is for this campaign or this whole marketing program this year, or for the business as a whole, and then we can start to figure out what it's going to take to get there. So instead of looking at our current situation of, hey, we spent $50,000 last year, let's increase it by 10%. Is that going to get us to our goal? I don't know. It depends what the goal is. And so we may not hit that goal, and we might not be happy. Got to use, tastefully use GIFs in these presentations. So instead, we're going to reverse engineer. Let's say the business has a desired future of, hey, we want to grow by 20% revenue, and we want to hit this many customers next year. Okay, great. So we've got a desired future. Let's start to reverse engineer and figure out what we need to do now to make that happen. And so once we do this, we're going to have a lot more wins, a lot more accurate forecasting, and everyone in the office is going to be doing the happy dance. So I didn't invent this concept, by the way. This is something that's treated or discussed a lot in just goal setting, personally and for businesses, but just beginning with the end in mind. Like, what is that outcome that we're trying to achieve? And then let's figure out what we need to do to get there. So the question to ask when you're thinking about putting a budget is to say, well, let's pretend it's 1 year from now. How do we know that we were successful? And so the 1 year is arbitrary. It could be 6 months. It could be 3 months. Like, depends on the length of your campaign. But this is a good one. Like, you can even put the date in the calendar. I find that's helpful. It's like, go to the calendar, put the date in there, and say, like, if I'm looking back at last year, like, what did we do where we're all happy? We think that this is successful. And so 1 year from now, like, what's your target revenue for your business, or how much revenue have you earned over the last year? How many customers did you serve last year? And what was your cost per lead or customer acquisition cost? And so here we've got a couple metrics that we need to look at. And if you don't know them, then we need to do some math. And that's what this metrics chain is all about. So, but it's just these 3 questions will get you what you need to put together any marketing budget. So the last question, by the way, number 3, cost per lead or customer acquisition cost. That kind of depends on your business. If you are more of a lead gen, sales driven organization, or maybe you're serving customers directly through the website or something, but they're good metrics to have. Just depends on your business. Okay, so let's talk about the metrics chain. So how do we go about figuring out that cost per lead for your business, or let's say the customer acquisition cost? Well, I think everyone's probably familiar with the marketing funnel. If you're not, this is a simplified version. It's just 3 stages: awareness, engagement, conversion. So when you're doing any marketing campaign, you are trying to create awareness first and foremost with an unaware audience. Then you want to go to work engaging them. Maybe you're retargeting them, you're bringing them to the website, and then you're offering content that's going to be valuable for them. And finally, you want to convert them or have them convert on your website. So we often talk about this customer journey as stages of the marketing funnel. And so this would be the top of funnel, mid funnel, and bottom funnel. And as marketers, we are trying to reach our target audience and then guide them through that funnel. So we want to transition them smoothly from stranger to customer, and then make them feel like the warm and fuzzies along the way. And so when we have a budget, we are there's an investment that's happening at the top of the funnel so that we can create awareness, bring them through the funnel, and get a return on the end. And so as marketers or performance marketers, we want to look at metrics on each of those stages. So what are those metrics? At the top of the funnel, those metrics are impression-related metrics. So we're looking at impressions, cost per 1,000 impressions, maybe the frequency of impressions. The middle of the funnel, we're looking at click-related metrics. So the number of clicks we're getting, the click-through rate, the cost per click. And the bottom of the funnel, it's conversions, the number of conversions, the conversion rate, and whatnot. So there are more stages in some funnels that you might find online. You might see things like monetization or loyalty or advocacy. But we're just going to keep it simple here and look at, like, from a stranger to first-time customer, especially. So that we can have a simplified view of this. And then all of the other kind of loyalty marketing stuff that happens after that is something that you're doing to increase the value of your current customers or your lifetime value. So each stage is connected. That's why the arrows kind of flow from the top to bottom, is that when you perform well on one stage, it usually kind of cascades down into the other stages. And the inverse is also true. If maybe if you're not getting the right amount of awareness, it's really hard to squeeze more juice out of that lemon for the engagement and conversion steps. So let's just look at things in a slightly different view. And this is the metrics chain that I referenced at the beginning of this section. So at the top, we've got our ad spend. This is the investment that we are going to put into, like, it's basically our budget, right? We've got our budget. Let's say it's $5 in this case. Actually, I'll run through the example after, but we've got our ad spend at the top. So with our ad spend, we're going to have a certain amount of cost per 1,000 impressions, or an average CPM. We times our ad spend by our CPM. That's going to get us our number of impressions. Then once we have our number of impressions, we're going to times that by our click-through rate, which is going to give us the number of clicks. And we times that by our conversion rate in the bottom of the funnel to get our number of conversions. So each one of these stages is connected. And when, like I mentioned, when one of them is off, it's going to cause the other ones to be off too. So finally, when we have our number of conversions, we're going to just divide our ad spend by the number of conversions, and we'll get our cost per conversion. Now we've got that metric that we saw on the previous slide, and we're able to actually calculate a budget that we need to hit our goals. So I'm just going to run through a quick example just to make this kind of sink in, and show you how all of these are connected. So let's say you have a $5 ad spend. If you also have a $5 CPM, which is really, really common actually, if you're doing Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads, it could be anywhere from kind of like $2 to $3 to like 40. But let's say an average of $5 CPM. Well, with a $5 ad spend and $5 CPM, you're going to get 1,000 impressions, because CPM stands for cost per 1,000 impressions. So if you have 1,000 impressions, let's say you've got a 10% click-through rate, which is a really strong click-through rate, you're going to get 100 clicks. Now, that's 100 clicks on your ad. They have to come to your website and actually convert on your website. So let's say only 5% of people do that. You're going to have 5 conversions. Now, with those 5 conversions, we've spent $5 and we've gotten 5 conversions. So that really means that we're spending $1 per conversion, which is amazing. If you can do this, you're usually making some good dough. But I'm using small numbers to make it easier to kind of see how these pieces are connected. But typically, when you're running campaigns, you're spending more than $5. So you just add a few zeros behind each of these numbers, and you'll kind of see how things shake out for you. So, like I said, why not have some tasteful gifts in the presentation? But the math is surprisingly simple, and I think it's easy to get overwhelmed with all of the metrics that are available to business owners and marketers. And you get that kind of analysis paralysis because you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to look at. But if you come back to this simple chain and look at the metrics that actually matter, you're going to be able to start to identify the pieces where you need to do some work. And so when it kind of relates to this, but when one metric is off, let's say you have a cost per conversion that is too high. Let's say it's $300, and you're like, yeah, I can't afford to spend $300 per conversion. Then you can start to trace it back into your you can start to trace it back through your funnel and say, okay, well, if that one's off, one of these other ones needs to be off, because they're all connected. So where is that happening? And in this case, maybe you kind of look at your metrics and you say, our conversion rate is really low, and that's causing things to be off here. So it's as I mentioned, it can be used as a tool to also find out where things are wrong, because everything is connected. So, and I think Christina is going to dig into that a bit more, and share with us our funnel calculator. So I'll hand over the screen to Christina, and we'll keep going from there. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you, Warren. So we learn about the goal-based budgeting, and we also learn about how important it is to understand our metrics change, how we can put this theory into practice. So we in our agency are using a tool called funnel calculators, and we found out that this is a very, very easy way how we can start putting this theory into practice. So let's talk about what funnel calculators are. So it's basically a simple Google Sheet template which is used for the performance marketing budgeting. It can be used by anyone. business owners, marketing managers, marketing consultants, anyone who is involved in planning and forecasting performance marketing budgets. Why they are useful? So I would say the number one reason is that because they offer you a simplified view of mapping the desired results back to a budgeted amount. And this is going to give you a clarity. So you would be able to understand that this exact amount of money, this exact amount of your monthly or annual budget is going to bring you certain amount of leads, customer, or revenue. Funnel calculators are also helping you to connect the dots between the entire marketing funnel. So you would be able to understand the metrics change, and you would be able to analyze where is the opportunity for improvements. And they're also helping you to shift the conversation from inputs to desired results. So instead of asking how much money we need to invest into our marketing campaigns, you can start the conversation with what we want to achieve in the next 6 months, 3 months, or in 12 months. And this is probably one of the key of the funnel calculator tools, because this is going to connect the funnel and give you the clarity and the view which you are hoping to get. Funnel calculators are also allow you to review after and find discrepancies between the forecast and actual. So basically, at the end of the campaign, you can come back to your funnel calculator and compare the plan with the actual results and try to understand again where are the opportunity for improvement for your next campaign. How we are recommending using them. So I will walk you through an actual funnel calculator, but before, let's talk about how these tools are used. So first of all, and this is again very important part, is you will need to identify what your desired results are. Asking the questions where we want to be as a company in the next 6 months. Once you have your desired results identified, then you need to find the key funnel metrics. This can be a combination of your marketing metrics, which we showed you in the metrics change, but you will also need to review your business metrics like gross margins or qualification rate. And these metrics, the key funnel metrics, will need to be filled in a white cells of our funnel calculator. We are also using some pre-calculated formulas to help you connect the dots in the funnel. I'll show you that later. These key funnel metrics can be filled in using your historical data if possible. So if you've been running ads before, it's ideally to use the numbers which you achieve or you get in your previous campaigns. But if you didn't run ads before, you can always use industry benchmarks which are available for every industry. So we have the desired results. We understand what our key metrics are. Now we can start reverse engineering and try to understand or fill in the budget amounts which we need to spend to get us to the desired results which we identified. And then we can also map the budget out monthly using a timeline that makes sense. So let's say right now you are receiving 3 leads per month, and your goal is to increase that number to 30 leads per month. Obviously, it's not going to happen overnight because there are some constraints. It can be capacity or cash flow, or you need to plan a new hire and change, the operational strategy to be able to provide or satisfy that many customers. So once you identify the desired results, once you identify what the budget needs to be invested into achieving those, you can start planning and mapping the strategy in a timeline. Great. So now we know what the funnel calculators are, who can use them. What is very important to mention is what they are not. So first of all, they don't account for probabilities and variances in your forecast. So when we start using or when you start planning your budget using a funnel calculator. The main goal for this tool is to simplify the process and give you an overall clarity. Obviously, during the campaign, there would be some changes in the campaign's performance based on market demand. And let's say your conversion rate for the campaign would be changing from 1% to 3% over the month. There are different modeling software which they can help you with this, but the funnel calculators are going to give you an overall, like a simple view of the future results. Funnel calculators are also not going to show you what is the ideal mix between your platforms. So let's say you want to plan campaign on Google and Facebook, and you fill a funnel calculator separately for each platform. Now you need to make the decision how to split the budget between those. We as an agency have been working with multiple clients in different industries, so we already have some insights which are coming with experience that which platform is working better for which industry. But you can do that based on your best judgment, trying to identify where your audience is. And then as the campaign is progressing, you can always make the changes and shift the budget. If you see that your leads are cheaper on Google, then you can decide to move the budget from Facebook to Google platform. Great, so let's finally have a look at the famous funnel calculator. So this is, as I said, a very simple Google Sheet template. And I'm going to zoom this in slightly and walk you through the different steps. So this is an example of a funnel calculator for lead gen company. So basically company which is acquiring leads, not directly customers. And the funnel calculator has multiple sections. So we are going to talk about metrics related to your ads, metrics related to your website, sales metrics, metrics related to your customers, business margin, and finally your return on investment. So let's say that you are thinking to invest $5,000 into your marketing campaign. So this would be your monthly ad spend. Your average cost per click, so how much you are paying for one person to click on your ad is $2, which means that there would be 2,500 people who will click on your ad and land on your website. Your website has a 5% conversion rate, which means that 5% from the people who click on your ad will convert. And those conversions, we call them leads. So you will get 125 leads or conversions on your website, and you are paying $40 per lead, which is basically $5,000 divided by the number of leads which you received on the website. Now let's talk about your sales metrics. These are leads. So those are people who were active on your website. They probably filled in a form or submitted a form, and you need to qualify them. So if 20% of the leads you received from the website would qualify, let's say they would be interested in getting a quote from you, you will have 25 number of qualified leads coming from your initial budget of $5,000. Obviously, these are just qualified leads. Those are not customers yet, right? So let's say your close rate for your sales process is 50%. That means that 12.5 or 12 customer in you will receive the 12 customer because 50% of them accept the quote, and they receive the service and pay the invoice. If your average customer value would be $10,000, your total revenue would be $125,000, which means that you are paying $720 for acquiring a new customer if you are investing $5,000 in your advertisement. And this is the important metrics which we need to understand, because if we know that we are paying $720 per customer, now we can connect the dots, and we can reverse engineer is that if we want to get 20 customers, how much money we do need to invest into our marketing campaigns, so we would be able to get the desired results. But let's talk a little bit more about the funnel. Now we know how much we are paying for a customer, but we also need to understand how profitable our campaigns are, and if this is actually making our business into the red or black numbers. So let's say that our company has a 30% gross margin. So for a roofing company, for example, these are the cost only for the equipment and for the work. It's not going to include any of our marketing costs or marketing budget. So if our gross margins are 30%, our gross profit right now is $37,500. Considering that you are paying your marketing agency $5,000 per month, you are getting from your investment $5,000, $28,500 as a total profit, and your return on investment is 417%. And Giovanna is sharing the link to this funnel calculator template, so feel free to use it and to make a copy. Like, you cannot be making any changes to this specific link, but if you make a copy and save it, then you would be able to use this funnel calculator for yourself. And we will be also sending the link at the end of the webinar in the wrap-up email. Great. So excuse me. Now we know how these calculators are looking, and what are the metrics which we need which we need to working with them. But let's have a look at the different scenarios and how these metrics are actually connecting and how they are influencing the final results. So let's start with the same budget in our scenario number 2, and let's say we have $5,000, but our average cost per click would be better. So that means that we may want to optimize our campaigns. We find a better, cheaper keywords. We find a better audience, or our copy would be performing better, and we would be able to decrease our cost per click from $2 to $1.50. What is changing? So you can obviously see that the funnel is changing from the top here. We can see that the number of clicks and website visitors increased. With the same conversion rate, we are getting 167 leads instead of 125, and our cost per lead is getting cheaper. And I also, for our customer acquisition cost is getting cheaper, because we right now with the cost per click 1.5, we are paying for a customer $540 comparing to $720, which we paid when our cost per click was $2. And our return on investment also increased, because the other metrics, website conversion rate or qualification rate or our gross margin are staying the same. But with just changing one metrics, we are able to see like how our investments is getting higher. So let's look at the scenario number 2. So our campaigns are, or scenario number 3, our campaigns are still performing very well, and we are able to keep the 1.5 cost per click in our campaigns. But we did some optimizations on our website, and our website conversion rate changed from 5% to 8%. The rest of the metrics is staying the same. What is changing? So the number of clicks or website visitors is the same, but we are seeing that our number of leads is increasing significantly, and our cost per lead is dropping. So instead of $30, now we are paying $19 per lead. We are getting more qualified lead. We are also getting more customers, and our cost per customer acquisition cost is dropping to $338, which is bringing our return on investment to 889%. Let's continue with the optimization. So our campaigns are running with the $1.5 cost per click. Our website is converting at 8%, but our sales process improved. And instead of 20% qualification rate, we are able to increase it to 25% qualification rate, which is bringing us even more qualified lead. And our close rate is changing or improving from 50% to 55% as well, which means that right now we are getting, with the same budget, $5,000, 36 customer instead of 12 at the very beginning. What does that mean? So our customer acquisition cost dropped significantly. So we are paying $245 dollars per customer, and our return on investment is about $1,200. So these are different ways how, when using the funnel calculator, we can forecast the changes and how the different metrics can influence the final results. Because when we were saying at the beginning that our goal is to get 40 customers, it's a different scenario when we are looking at the first forecast, because we will need to, with these metrics in place, we will need to invest way more budget into our campaigns than when we see the improved version, where the changes in the campaigns and the sales process and website performance are also influencing the final results of your campaigns. Here is the last scenario where it's the reverse version. Let's look at how this couldn't work, or what would be the worst scenario. So let's say that with the same budget, $5,000, our cost per click is $3 compared to $2. And our website conversion rate dropped from 5% to 3%. As you can see, the increase in our cost per click is significantly decreasing the number of people who are coming to your website. And the decrease in the conversion rate is also decreasing the final number of leads. So instead of 125 leads, which we got at the very beginning, we are working with 50 leads. And even though the other metrics can be the same, our final cost per customer acquisition cost would definitely be higher. But if we even say that our sales process would decrease, so our qualification rate would drop to 10%, and our close rate would drop to 33%, you can see that right now our customer acquisition cost increased to almost $5,500. Which is bringing us only 55% return on investment, which means that the company wouldn't be profitable at that point. Cool. So this is lots of numbers. I know that this can be a little tricky, but let's have a quick look on how the funnel calculator and those different scenarios can be used as a diagnostic tool. So you remember this example when we were talking about how the different parts of the funnel and the different metrics are connected. And if one of those change, it will influence the rest. And we saw that as an example in our funnel calculation. So now, when we understand the relationship between those metrics, we can try to look into the funnel and try to identify what is wrong and what can be improved. So top of the funnel, it's usually those metrics like impressions are awareness metrics. So if we want to look at how these can be changed, we need to ask questions if we are advertising on the right platforms, if Google would work better than Facebook, or if we are using the right formats of our ads. So are we using video ads compared to image ads, or for LinkedIn, are we using document ads compared to message ads? These can help us to understand what we need to test and when we need to make the changes. For the middle of the funnel, those are engagement metrics, so clicks. Those are usually related to our audiences. Are we targeting the right audiences on our platform? Are we using the right copy? Are we using the right creatives to deliver the message correctly? Are we using the right offer in our copy? And then bottom of the funnel, those are conversion metrics, which are related to website performance, click-through rate optimizations, form you have on your website. So looking at this example, we identified that because our cost per conversion was too high, there was a possibility that their conversion rate on the website is probably too low and can be improved. So our platforms for our campaigns and our formats are good. Ads and audience seems to be working. So what we need to change or what we need to investigate would be our website performance, and if there is any way how we can improve the forms which we are using. The same can be applied to our sales process. Is our is there a way how our qualification rate can be improved, or do we need to improve our close rate for our sales process? And what about our customer service, pricing, or staffing? So because you have the opportunity to connect the whole funnel and have a very simple view of how these metrics are working together, this can help you to understand where are the opportunities to improve not just your marketing performance, but also the business performance with the connecting to your marketing strategy and marketing campaigns. And now we are going to talk a little bit about some free resources. So Warren, please take it away.
Thanks, Christina. So yeah, I hope that was like there's a couple light bulb moments there for everyone when you see that and you're like, oh my gosh, I can actually track all of this, pay attention to it. So what we find is we like to pay attention to this stuff like every week sometimes or every month. Whatever it is, you do a cadence and then you optimize and tweak along the way. So you're learning, you're iterating. You can't just do it once and okay, we did it, it's done. The best way to do it is to keep revisiting it over and over again, and then make those changes and just be a master optimizer all the way through that value chain in your business. So we got some free resources. We already shared the funnel calculator, but we do have one more funnel calculator. So it's actually in that same document. If you clicked File, Make a Copy, it's just one of the hidden tabs. And we just wanted to throw a bonus in there. For a lot of businesses, you might not have a sales team where you're providing quotes and whatnot. So if you're actually taking bookings or reservations right on your website or donations, then this other funnel calculator will apply to you more. And so it's just a little bit simplified, just removes that step. But we also do have a workshop survey form. So I know that there's only a few people here, so we'd really appreciate if you did get value out of this and you do want to see some new workshops and webinars from us. We definitely want to keep doing these, and we're just curious to know how this one went, what you really got out of it, and how we can improve, and then some future topics. So we're always trying to kind of pay attention to what we should be talking about in the future. And all right, Christina, keep going. I did want to share a special offer with everyone here, and I will say that Kim, who's on the call, we're actually doing this in a couple days. So this is something that I think is a really good starting point if you're interested in doing something like this for your business, is that you can work directly with myself or my business partner, Charles, and we can go through this together with you. So along with a couple other things. So we're calling it our digital opportunity analysis. It's about 1 week. We'll meet twice. We do a self-assessment, which we'll go through with you, a competitive analysis looking at like 3 to 5 of your main competitors, an ads account audit, so we can actually look at your historical performance, and then we put together that funnel calculator and performance plan for you. So you're basically getting some eyes on making sure that this is going to be accurate for your business, or a lot more accurate, and then you can start taking these steps forward. So I find that these are really valuable sessions when I'm working with business owners and marketers, and they're a lot of fun. So usually we charge $500 for this. This is a webinar discount because every webinar has a discount offer of some sort. And so it's 30% off for anyone that emails me before April 10th. So by next week, if you take your time, think about it, drop me an email. And for this digital opportunities analysis, we have 100% happiness guarantee. If you're not happy, we just give you your money back. And if you are, and we do start working together, we just apply the amount to your first contract. So try to make it pretty juicy. So without further ado, if anyone does have any questions, we can answer them right now. If you want to turn on cameras, if not, you can also, if you want to ask privately and whatnot, you can also email me right there. It's warren@olometrics.com. And with that being said, I also want to thank everyone for showing up today. But Kim, Kevin, and I'm not sure the last person's name, after going through all of the slides and the funnel calculator, do you guys have any questions right off the top of your head?
It's Kim.
Kim.
Not a question, but a kind of I think it's something we've kind of talked about. And, you know, for me, it's the bottom of that funnel, right? That conversion is just not happening for us. So that's where, you know, we're going to take the expertise of Warren and his team to see where we're missing the mark, right, on our marketing and stuff. So that is the conversion part. So where in the steps are we missing? So I'm really looking forward to learning, actually, myself, alongside with you, right?
That's it.
That's the bottom line. We want to do it together so that we can be, you know, doing it together, and I can be learning at the same time. As you know, as we know, small business owners don't have the massive amount of time, and using an expert in this and being able to see that is like, yeah, that's what I want to be able to see, for sure. So that's
awesome.
great. That was my aha moment in that funnel there.
Glad to hear it. Yeah. It is pretty amazing how you can now when you go back and you look at your metrics, you can start to connect them to here's what I need to work on. And I think that's probably the most valuable part of this is you look at that, like Christina said, is it our CPMs? Are they off? No, those are looking pretty healthy. Is it our click-through rates? No, those are good. So our ads should be fine. Let's start working on our landing page, and let's start working on our forms on our website, and you know, our conversion rate optimization. Because a lot of times what happens when it doesn't work, people just want to throw out, oh, we need new ads. Oh, we need new ads. Oh, we need new ads. Or we need to switch platforms and whatnot. And so you're changing the wrong thing most of the time.
Well, that's what I'm depending on working with you with to find out what it is, right? Because I'm not a marketing expert either, right? So, yeah.
Cool. Well, looking forward to it. We'll wrap up there. It's we're 1 minute over. It's pretty good timing. But I just want to thank all of you for coming. I knew it was a small group today, so really appreciate you showing up and participating. And if you do have any other follow-up questions, please feel free to email us. We'd be happy to help and happy to chat. And yeah, if you've got anyone in your network that you think might benefit from this, then please feel free to share this. We'll send a follow-up email tomorrow, and would love to have, you know, anyone that's struggling with these things to share the content with would be greatly appreciated.